So, hey everyone, I was just checking it was zoomed out as far as it can go just for the minute. I just thought I would do a bit of a short tutorial. I'm not sure quite how long it'll go, but a bit of a short tutorial on using Inktense pencils. As you can see, I've got the Derwent Inktense 72 set behind me here. But first things first, you may wonder why I've got a small art diary here in front. That's because with these pencils, I would highly recommend you do colour samples with the water on the Inktense pencils. I will show you how to not oversaturate and have it seep through your colouring pages or whichever it is. But yeah, so as you'll see here, I've done a bit of a sample with the names and all 72 colours in my little diary here. And over here, well, this is a few like skin colour, when I was looking for skin colours for Prismacolor here. A few of these are like I have a heap of loose sheets, and really I need to put the colours and what the image is that I'm working on in this diary. So hang on, I'll see if I can get it to focus a bit better. You may not be able to read that, but basically what I've got in this diary is different images I've been working on and just the colours, and that was when I did a bit of a competition with Millie Marottas on the page. And yeah, so these are just all colours I've been used or been using on different books. Oh yeah, seahorse for Curious Creatures. But yeah, so I basically have this open as a review thing when I'm deciding the first colours for this. I don't need this because I've already pulled out my Inktense colours that I was using for this image, that I will show you a bit on how I use them, how I double layer on it. So yeah, and I'll just show you. This is the Inktense 72 box set or tin, so it's quite nice. There are colours missing because I've pulled them out for the image that we'll be doing. So yeah, it's just a double slide tin. And you'll just see, yeah, made in the UK. And that's just the back of the Inktense tin. Materials you need, obviously a cup with water. This one is one that I use for Inktense. Oops, sorry, didn't have it in the frame. I use for Inktense because it has been a bit stained by the Inktense colours, just rinsing the brush off, which you do very regularly in this. My Inktense pencil colours, which I'll read out when we start, and I'm just using a cheap acrylic brush from just my local Target. It was in a $5 pack because I don't own Derwent water brush or water brush from any of the companies, so I just use a cheap $5 acrylic brush, and that's how I will be showing you how to use it. I actually somehow lost the finer point brush, so this is my second finest point in that cheap $5 pack of brushes. So yeah, and oops, just shift that so that it's more stable. I don't really want to tip water everywhere. And the book we're working in is Millie Marottas Animal Kingdom. This is the deluxe edition, so it's got the lot heavier paper. I have started working on a chameleon in just the normal paperback book with Inktense, and it does have very minor bleed through in that paper, so I don't know that I would recommend using it on other things. Like, it's not hugely visible or anything, it's just a very, very, very minor, like a very minor coloured spot. Yeah, so this image so far that I'm going to show you, it has over 50 hours work in it so far, and I've still got the majority of the octopus and the background to do. So as you'll see here, I will only work on the one page just to show you this, but this is over 50 hours work in this so far, just using the Inktense pencils. So there is a lot of work in there. That looks like some of the colour's gone onto the actual page. That's interesting, I didn't realise that. Maybe that was from when I was colouring it. But yeah, either way, once Inktense is dry too, it is permanent and you can layer over it, which is how I have done these tentacles. As you'll see, this one here, hang on, I'll zoom in a bit and just focus it. This tentacle here, you'll see I haven't done all the shading layers over it yet, so I still need to do those shading layers yet on that tentacle as well, but I'm basically doing like a double glaze, I guess you could say. I'm using a very light painting of water, colouring the first part, using a very light layer of water on that, and then I go basically, because I use such a light layer of water, I'm basically able to straight away go over with my pencils. I wouldn't recommend doing this before the image is the first layer is completely dry. But then I go over with the second layer of pencils in the dark tones and that, and I basically then create my shadows and depths with the second layer. So I'm basically doing like a second glaze on it. So yeah, let me just shift this over so it's a spot where you can see it. So yeah, I'll just start with continuing on this tentacle that I've been working on, show you that, and then I will do the second layer, and then depending, I may go and do a bit more of another tentacle, I may not, I will see. I am using multiple colour tones on the small areas like usual, and so I just need to remember it's golden yellow, tangerine, and burnt orange on one side, I'm pretty sure. Oh no, burnt orange, hang on. Yeah, that's it. Oh, baked earth on one side. No, it is the burnt orange. So basically I'm just doing a separate colour to the others, so try to keep my hand out of the way. As you'll see, these parts have already had water, but basically what I'm doing first, I'm going in with the baked earth in the Inktense, and I'm just doing a layer around like that with the baked earth. That layer ended up a little thicker. There are some lighter areas on the pencils because some of them I have gone and just gotten layers off with the brush when I need to. So I'll just do to this spot just because of where the page bend is right now. And then we're going in with our burnt orange in here. Just make that slightly. I can't make it much darker. I think I just went over the burnt orange a bit. Whoops. But yes, so we're going in with our burnt orange, And then over that, we're going in with our Tangerine into the final little space here. And you don't necessarily need to do light layers under these just because the water will blend them all in. And then with this side, this is just a short tutorial. I will do a full image with these sooner than later. I just thought I would do a short starting tutorial showing how I use my Inktense and how I double glaze. So this one's the burnt orange. And we're going in around these layers. You'll notice some areas are fatter, but I still only do the one streak in those areas. I might just make it slightly thicker with the streak. So this is our burnt orange. These are Derwent Inktense pencils. I'll share the news now. I'm quite excited, but Derwent actually was amazing, and they're sending me a couple of their, I'm not sure if it's small sets or full sets or whatever, but I'm so appreciative anyway. But Derwent has actually accepted my asking to review pencils for them on this channel and do colouring images and use them in my art and stuff, and it's an amazing opportunity. I was surprised that they accepted me, and I'm so happy and really appreciative to Derwent for this, because I have grown up using their pencils. My mum grew up using their pencils. Honestly, I would probably use their pencils for my kids when I have kids. For me, I would say the Derwent pencils are sort of they're artist quality, but they're more mid-price range, so they're not really expensive like Polychromos or Prismacolor, but they also aren't really cheap, so they're more a mid-range pencil that is more affordable to a lot more people. And honestly, just undoing my jacket. I couldn't recommend them highly enough, because I have never had an issue with their pencils. They've always had amazing quality pencils, and I guess I like their pencils, and I like the way they work and their quality and the effects and stuff you can get out of them. I just basically like their pencils. So if you can't afford Polychromos or Prismacolor, but you want some artist quality pencils, Derwent's always another option. So yeah. Now we're going in with our Tangerine. And we're just doing the solo streak in those as well. Sorry, just overheating a little here at the minute. I've got too many layers on. -1 again tonight though. And you may notice too, I've done two slightly different shades here, and I will show you that in a minute. But that is because of our light sources. So you will see we do have some light sources in the octopus itself. Doing very well at this tonight, so I've got a bit of a headache, but with these pencils too though, because you're going to be putting water on them, if there is a little bit of a gap or something left, it doesn't matter so much. And whoops, I just messed that one up a fair bit. This is a thing, trying to keep my hand out of the picture, I'm getting a really shaky hand, and it just does not work easily that way for me. So yes, because I've learnt to hold the pencil one way and not the other, so that's how I normally do it. But yeah, now we're going to go in with our golden yellow. And I'm just, hang on, just having a bit of a look here. Okay. Just having a look at how I do the shadows outwards, but golden yellow, you basically just fill in all the rest of the spots. And once these are dry, these are permanent, you cannot erase them. So I wouldn't even recommend attempting to erase these once they're dry, because you're not going to achieve erasing them. I just turned the book this way because it's easier on my wrist and hand for showing you this. So yes, there's that. So I might do the watercolour and then do these little outside edges. So what you need now is your water brush, and you just dip the brush into that till it soaks. And then what I find I do to get the excess water out, I just brush it on my hand, and then I'll come in down this part first, just work out where, and I come in from the lightest colour to the darkest colour. And then each time I just go and dip the brush again and then wipe any excess water off, because we're just wanting a very, very light layer of water here so that we can basically very quickly move on to our next layer. So that's just what I do every time. I think those ones might have already had water put on them, but oh well. Sorry, I'm just going back to my water here, so if you see my hand get in the way, that's just because I'm going to rinse my brush, or I'm brushing it off. But yeah, so I'm basically just wiping any excess water off my hands, and I'm going from the light shade to the dark area when I'm putting this water down, so the dark shade doesn't smudge over our lighter areas. And I'll probably pause in 5 minutes just because the time on the camera for recording. Oh, I don't know what happened there, sorry. My computer's right next door and it must have started on something briefly and then it stopped. So who knows. Anyway, back to this. So now with this, we're going to come in with our lighter shades and go to the darker areas again. These ones will be a lot more orange just because you've used multiple orange shades. As you'll see there, I don't know if you can see it, but I've got way too much water, so I've got a big water droplet on my hand when I brush that one off. So you don't necessarily want a huge heap of water, as I said, just so that you can very quickly add the second layer on. I also find just, I guess, running it over your hand means that you are sort of making sure your brush is sort of dryish, dampish, and not oversaturated. Just went over a couple of areas there just because they needed it a bit. That one, really you shouldn't do that too much with going over different ones at the same time, because then you get the darker and the lighter, but that time I did. Like, it doesn't matter, a bit of dark on the light, but you don't want too much dark on the light because otherwise you lose your light source. You'll see I might go over a couple of these layers a couple of times. That's just to smooth out any streaks or patches of paper that I missed when putting the pencil layer down. And it is, or even to try and smooth out a bit of obvious lines between the pencil colours, so you get smooth blending. And I am blending these all the way down into the other tentacle areas just because you don't want white gaps in between your tentacle kind of thing. And looks like I've missed putting some yellow in that spot. You also need to work quite fast with this because doing it this way they dry very quickly, so you need to work fast, because if you make a slight boo-boo with something or put too much of a dark layer on one spot or whatever, you need to work very quickly to fix that mistake. Or else you're basically stuck with an obvious mistake. So I've had a couple of times with these where I've had to work very fast. with water and removing it with the brush and that to get that mistake off, or else I would have been left with an obvious mistake. So yeah, just be aware it could take some time, or you have to work quickly if you do make a mistake and want to fix it. Just then I was going back and brushing out, smoothing out a line a bit. But as you'll notice, I do have a bit of orange spots on there. That looks like that orange on the paper that I mentioned. It looks like that's just pencil shavings that have rubbed off as I've put the colours on, so these do seem to get some of that pencil smudging. And how I'm just cleaning the brush off quickly is because I'm rubbing it against the side of my water jar. I think this is 180 GSM paper too, which is why it holds it a lot better than the others. I think Millie Marottas Deluxe book is, but I'm not totally sure. So see here, I just want to blend it in a little more, which means I've got to, because I just wet that one, I need to quickly work over it. Your hand may end up saturated in water and you may have to just wipe the water off every now and then. That's because I'm working very fast to do this and get it down before it dries, because as soon as it's dry you can't do much about it. Which I think I might have said, but yeah. And I'm just using the very tip of the brush to do this because the fine details are required. So there we have that part. Because it's been quite a while since I've done this, I'm not going to worry about these outside bits till I work out how I did them again. Then I will do the outside bits, but for now I'm just going to pause this video because it's nearly up with its recording time, and then I will come back and I'll show you how I do the second glaze on the top of the Inktense pencils. So yeah, I'll be back soon. Okay, so I'm back. I'm probably not going to do this full tentacle just because this is a quick thing to show you. So we're going to be using our madder brown and dark chocolate now for these areas. I'm just going to show you a little bit on this top bit of the octopus leg here. I'm not going to show you the full leg just because of, I guess, time and stuff like that. So yeah, what we're going to do, because this bottom area is our darker area, we're going to come in with our dark chocolate in this area. So we want to bring our dark chocolate in, and we also, because of the layers, we're doing just our dark chocolate on the angle there, so we may bring a bit down along here too with our dark chocolate, just this time, just because we want our bit of a dark shadow under there where the leg's darker. And then I've sort of done this on here because I'm trying to pick up all the details where they go. So this is where we start our second glaze layer, I guess you could say. And I'll just leave it at that spot for that. Because of this, I'm just finding the colour, sorry. And now with this side. And whoops, I've missed. Sorry, I'm just working this stuff out quickly. We're going to use our madder brown on this side, but the shadows up there, but that shadow's. I'm just working out the shadows, sorry. Bring it down and up like that. This is kind of, I noticed this is the opposite of how I've done these shadows here, but I can't quite remember what I was doing because it's been many months since I was last working on this piece. So yeah, and I'll just leave it at that piece. And what we want to do is basically bring in our let's see, it was baked earth, burnt orange, golden yellow, tangerine. Yeah. So now we want to bring in our baked earth on this side with this brown. And this will just help it to blend in more. This is pretty much where I'm double glazing the thing. We want a bit of burnt orange on this side, and on the other side we want our burnt orange. Trying to leave space in there for a bit of tangerine on this side too. And we do want a bit of burnt orange on this side, and this is the opposite of the way that I have it on there. I can see that, but yeah, I don't really want too many shadows on that top bit of the tentacle there. Oops, I too wide in that spot. Just because we now need to fit 4 colours in here. Not 3, but 4. And now this final spot, we're going with our Tangerine. Sorry, that was another video that I've finished editing. It's just finished saving to video format. So I will get that uploading overnight when I go to bed very soon. And then we're just bringing in some of our Tangerine here. Trying to just go on our orange areas, not the others. And whoops, I just got a bit of brown through that bit. And then we're just going to come in with our golden yellow in the final spots where it's yellow. And then what we're going to do, put those down. I'm just going to wash that bit of orange off that I scrubbed onto my hand for a minute there. Now what we want to do is, working quickly, we want to go from our orange again, but we also want to bring it up and we want to carefully line these darker areas and just blend it in a little into the image. So we kind of want those shadows to stand out, but we also want them blended into the other colours, but I'm doing the other lighter colours first, so these, I guess, don't fully take over from those. And we want a bit of shadows here because this is the underneath of our octopus's leg. And as before, I'm quickly brushing off the brushing between layers. You may notice, as said, the lines may look a bit smudged, but that's because I'm trying to work it in a bit so the shadows look a bit more natural with the patterns in Millie Marottas Octopus. And I'm also blending in those other colours. That we put back on, because we put a second layer on at the first layer of colours, just because that seems to allow you to blend in that black area or the dark area better, which is good. Oops. And there's a bit of, this is what I mean by making a mistake and you have to work fast to get rid of it. And for there, done. quickly do this area just because it's got water on it. Going to do this side, starting from light going to dark. Just working quickly. One last one that we missed down here. And yeah, so that's how I do double glazing. I'll just try to zoom in a bit more so you can see it, and I'll just make sure the camera's focused. But yeah, so that's how I've done no double glazing. Sorry, it was zoomed out probably a little further than people needed, but so I did it. Always make sure you wash your paintbrush off before you finish, so because if this dries in it, basically the paintbrush sticks together, and yeah, you don't really want stuck together paintbrush. So yeah, I hope that helps you out anyway, and I will see you later. Bye.